Ba-dam, bam, bam, ba-dam, bam, bam. You see me now, the victim of the 1,000 OGL wars. It's up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, dogs and cats, tropical fish, furniture, and whoever else might be listening to the sound of my voice. It's your boy, the OGGM, coming to you live from a small island off the coast of Costa Rica at 11 o'clock in the morning here, February 2023, on the 23rd day of February, the first day of Lent. What are you giving up for Lent if you celebrate it? It is cold and sunny, but it's about to be hit by another round of storms. And speaking of storms, segue. See how I do that? I'm very good at this segue thing. The never-ending OGL 1 D&D storm continues, as now we need to see how this is going to affect the Adventurers League, DM's Guild, Roll20, and the upcoming legendary, mythical Wizards of the Coast official D&D virtual tabletop, which may or may not be on the Unreal Engine. Mind you, it's been almost a year? Let's see, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So yeah, it's been 7 months since any mention of the VTT, but according to Kyle, it's out there. So, in order to understand what I'm about to talk about, I need to sort of explain to you what the DM's Guild Adventurer League is. And if you're familiar with the RPGA, Role Playing Gamers Association, then you sort of have a general idea of what the Adventurers League is. But if you don't, the Adventurers League is the official sponsored Dungeons and Dragons seasons that are put on throughout the United States and possibly the world by Wizards of the Coast / DM's Guild, where they get officially sponsored adventures. And you have officially sponsored characters that you can only use at Adventurers Leagues, several tables running variations of the exact same adventure or adventures that are appropriate for the season. The season is usually 6 months to a year. There's usually 1 to 3 adventures that go through the season, at the end of which there's usually a big payoff that either links to a pre-existing adventure or a forthcoming adventure. Anything that happens in Adventure League's adventures is unique to the Adventure League. So, characters come and go. Characters have to be made under specific rules. For the Adventurers League, you can only use those characters in specific Adventurers League. If you get stuff in the Adventurers League, you technically may or may not get to keep it. I'm probably doing a bad job to explain it, but basically it's the official D&D club. So as we know, the future is digital. And it looks like the DM's Guild and the Adventurer League is clinging on to that railroad train to follow the digital evolution of the hobby. Because whether you believe it or not, you goddamn marks, D&D is going digital. So right now, it looks like they're going to be selling content on the DM's Guild site, specifically for Roll20. So creators on the DM's Guild, creators for Adventurers League product could sell their stuff on Roll20 for now. They also have a presence on Fantasy Grounds, but it looks like they're focusing on Roll20 at least until the official Wizards of the Coast D&D VT goes live. So a lot of the DM's Guild stuff has already been converted to VTT. VTT meaning virtual tabletop. I'm going to explain that now so I don't have to explain it again. Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, all these other things are virtual tabletops. Segue. How come the Minecraft-inspired VTT doesn't get more love? Because you would think that one would be, whoa, I can play D&D using Minecraft physics, but I guess it never caught on. So these are what's going on. What does this mean for the future? Currently, there are several Adventurer League's adventures on Roll20. Totally Unfrozen, Pharmacist Wanted, Unfrozen, The Horror of Darkfell. You pay about $5 to get these adventures. They download to your comptometer and your portable comptometer, and I guess whatever else you're using to access, and then you take it with you to Adventure League official sponsored, and then you can run it using your laptop, and everybody will have digital access to their characters, and the laptop as long as you have a decent laptop/digital device, and as long as wherever you're playing has decent access to the interweb. Because otherwise, well, as we've been finding out a lot recently, yeah, being completely dependent upon the comptometer for all your D&D stuff might not be to your best advantage. So even if you are 99% virtual tabletop bound, the OGGM suggests you maybe keep a backup of your character on a piece of paper. Just cause. But yeah, moving forward. So, Greg Marks, the guy over at Mastering Dungeon, he will discuss with us now the changes to the Adventurers League 2023 post-OGL apocalypse. I guess Greg Marks is somehow involved with organized play and the Adventurers League. I have reached out to our local Adventurers League dude here in Site B. He hasn't responded yet. Maybe I'll see him this weekend at this convention that they're doing that's supposed to be a block from here. I'll have more on that later. So what does Mark have to say? What does Greg Marks have to say about the future of Adventurers League in regards to evolving to the digital, why they have chosen Roll20 as their home, and how they are being affected by the aftermath, the aftershocks, the tsunamis of last month's OGL wars. News number one, player choices. There'll be new story arcs. The player choices will have more significant impact on the overall story. The new structure ties multiple adventures together, allowing players to see the consequences of their actions play out over time, as long as they remain with those characters in that adventure and they go and proceed through that story. So adventure path and things you do will actually affect the outcome of the adventure path, as it should. And I guess things are entered into the computer, and then the powers that be say, okay, since your players did this in your version, here are some possible outcomes, I guess. Maybe. Perhaps if I understood Adventurers League better, I'd have a better guess. But if every DM is handed the exact same pamphlet of information, and then those players play through it, we have to assume that no two groups will respond absolutely the same way. So there has to be some built-in mechanic if they go left instead of right. Number two, changes to the player's guide. The Adventurers League has made changes to character creation to make it more flexible and player-friendly and inclusive. The new player guide is just 3 pages as opposed to the original 21-page guide. Interesting. Changes to the season structure. The Adventurers League is now using a story arc structure that ties multiple adventurers together in a way that was not previously done. To accomplish this, each adventure has a more detailed outline for the writer than was previously provided. How does that and the structure of the seasons is going to be the same length, the same rewards, or what? New adventures release. They will be releasing new adventures more frequently. We don't know when or how or why, but there will be one and more options to finding adventures that suit your play. Expansion of the Premier Organizer Program. The Adventurers League is expanding its program to include Premier Organizers, which recognizes organizers who have shown exceptional dedication and skill in running Adventurers League's events. Currently, Baldom Games and Gamehole Con are the only 2 recognized Premier Organizers. So I guess that's places, not like Joe, what may not get recognized, but the hotel that Joe hosts his convention at might, or I don't know. The store. I mean, no store here in Ventura is going to get recognized for that, but maybe there's a store somewhere. Virtual play. Oh, here we go. Virtual play is becoming more important to the Adventurers League with the release of more virtual play content and increased opportunities for virtual play. Oh my. Is this yet another confirmation that Wizards of the Coast Hasbro is taking D&D digital? Are there still people out there who are grasping at the straws that this is not going to happen? despite almost on a weekly basis, we are presented with evidence that it is. And yet, I don't know. I hope not. And if you are, well, God love you for being determined in your belief, even if the facts are against you. More flexibilities for DMs. The new structures allows DMs more flexibility to modify adventures as needed. Come on. We know that even when being handed a scripted adventures, no two DMs run it exactly the same. No two parties react to it exactly the same. And everybody's modifying it, even if they're not consciously aware of it. Nobody runs it as written, because our brains interpret the information differently. So every DM who has run an Adventures League ran their own version of that adventure. And every player that sat down to Adventure League's games experienced their own personal version of that story, because their perception of the events is different than the perception of the events of the person to the right of them and the left of them. And the perception of the events of the game master is different than the perception of events on the table. And I could get more into human psychology, but you don't care. But yeah, you now have more freedom to do something you've probably been doing anyways. Good on you. Overall, the changes seem to be giving players more agency in shaping the story of their characters. Oh, God, oh, no. How can I write a scripted adventure if I have to deal with players' agency? You know, if I'm running a 5-point season about random topic is random elementals, and elementals destroying stuff, and there's a scripted encounter where the elementals are doing something, but player agency says, oh no, you can't do that because of my agency. How do I re-script that if everybody is following the exact same script? Because the minute I change it, I don't know. I mean, but that is okay, because we have changes in, we have rules in place for if you have to sit down at the table and suddenly there's a player that goes, my character cannot kill anything because I'm a vegetarian. Right now, it seems like the Adventurers League doesn't really seem to be affected by the OGL wars, though I have spoken to a few people in the local Adventurers League, and they were very disappointed in the OGL apocalypse of January, and they have lost a lot of faith in Wizards of the Coast, but they're still doing Adventurers League because fun, friends, they're already committed, it's easy to do. I guess if you're running in through a 5-part beginning, middle, and end with a character that's only designed for that adventure, then there's probably a little less connection to the character. I mean, I know this character is only going to live for 5 adventures, and then I'll never see them again, because the next one will be a completely different campaign set in a completely different setting, and I'll have to make a completely new character. So there's some appeal to that, I guess. And, the whole idea of a structured, regulated D&D where there's, a structurally regulated group that shows up at the exact same time, at the exact same place, who are all going through the exact same adventure. There's something reassuring about that. There's something, especially if you're a little OCD like I am, knowing that the game's going to happen at the exact same time every week, and and certain things are always going to be set in place to fall into the little box of Adventurers League's appropriate shenanigans. That's sort of refreshing in a weird way, because, I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is already just set in stone and controlled. And there's a lot of, random factors that won't be affecting this because of the way an Adventure League scenario and the way an Adventures League experience is set out. It's very controlled. It's very linear. It's very scripted. And that's sort of, in a way, refreshing. I guess. I mean, I can understand the appeal, I guess is what I'm saying. Even people who are like, I'm done with the OGL and I'm done with D&D, but I'll still do this because it's got a certain organized appeal to it. Where so yeah, We have an Adventurers League here where I live. It is not located in Ventura. It is located in one of our neighbor cities, but I guess Ventura falls under the auspice of that Adventurers League, though they have done very little in Ventura. They tend to focus out in Woodland Hills and Camarillo for whatever reason. Not that they have any reason to come to Ventura, considering how the long history of how the Ventura game stores have treated role players. I can understand why the Adventure League views us with trepidation. I remember trying to get it started when it first was announced years ago, but due to the en toto experience of gaming here where I live, it was met with less than stellar response. And the store in question was like, no, I don't want to do that. Again, 20 years in this damn town. At least every year, brand new game store. One new game store a year, every year for 20 years. Most of them closed. I live within a 20-minute walk of 4 game stores, none of which actively support D&D. How? How is that possible? So things look rosy for the Adventurers League, I guess, is the conclusion, at least for now. It doesn't look like it's going to be changed too much in the post-OGL apocalypse of February 2023, other than the transition to the inevitable digital and their choice to choose Roll20 as their VTT home rather than wait to see if Wizards of the Coast ever actually makes their VTT into an existing structure. What are your thoughts on the matter? Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the OGGM Adventures if you haven't yet. Help me reach 1,500 subs by April 1st, and we'll do something stupid. Till then, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch me, and if you appreciate this content, head on over to my sponsor, Big Geek Emporium, host of my Minions on a Mission campaign setting. All my products still on sale for $2. It's the best way you can support me is head on over to Big Geek Emporium and buy my merch. Link down below, as always. Till next time, I have been the OGGM. If you have any questions about the Adventurers League, let me know. I'm still waiting to hear from our local Adventurers League dude. But yeah, right now, if you're an Adventurers League person, you don't have a lot to worry about. It looks like things are smooth sailing. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Please have a great day. That's it for me. Hello, Lone Wolf. Till next time, see ya.